Welcome to this moment, love. Tensi here. I'm super excited today, right now, in this moment. We're going to delve into 7 secrets to conquer emotional eating, even when you have regular cheat meals. And when you hear that, you're like, what? What? Okay. Cheat meals and conquering emotional eating. How do they even work together? Well, in this video, we're going to explore together and take notes if you're called to, if something pops out at you that really resonates with you, jot it down because it's for you. If your spirit called you to it, it's for you. All right. So let's see. Conquering emotional eating, even with regular cheat treats. So, the first tip of 7 that I have for you is simply getting healthy swaps for your kitchen staples. So, most likely you're on your own journey, whether it's to be 100% plant based or you just want to be just having more focus on whole foods and less processed things and building that healthy relationship with food so that you make a sustainable, a lasting change when it comes to having that healthy relationship with food and conquering emotional eating or whatever other goals you might have, whether it's weight loss or if it's healing from a medical condition. Maybe it's something like that. But either way, getting healthy swaps for your kitchen staples or those things that you just go to, whether it's a snack like chips or if you love sweets, having healthy swaps for those, or if you drink coffee and that shuts down your digestive system, really having healthy swaps at your disposal. So surrounding yourself with healthy options is my number 1 tip. So one thing that one of our Freedom Tribe Thrive Club members shared with me in the tribe was that she was looking for healthy swaps for chips specifically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some of the healthy swaps that I love, absolutely adore when it comes to chips. And we're talking about everyone loves chips and you can never eat one. So instead of trying to force yourself to stop eating chips altogether or to always cook healthy kale chips or things like that, here are some brands that I love that will make it easier for you on your journey. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen so that you can see some of these things and they might just change something for you. So let me go ahead and share that. Okay, give me a second, y'all. All right. Okay. Awesome. So this brand right here, it says plant snacks. You see it? So if you love exotic flavors and things like that when it comes to your chips, like vegan cheddar, I think they have barbecue chips and they have all sorts of different flavors of chips, but you don't want all of the crazy ingredients that come with Doritos or those other big brands of chips where as soon as you look at the ingredients label, it's looking kind of crazy. So here are some alternatives. You see how these are cassava root chips. Now, one cool thing about these is whenever you look at the ingredients list, y'all will hear me say time and time again, look at the ingredients, read the ingredients label. And this is going to be super crucial because when you become more acquainted with what's going in your body, you feel more confident in knowing that you're taking these steps toward your success. So the first tip is get healthy swaps for your kitchen staples. So if you love chips, then maybe look for chips that have, that don't have soy in them. So these are soy-free, vegan. They're free of tree nuts and things so if you're allergic to nuts, you're good. They're gluten-free, they're grain-free, they're dairy-free. They don't have eggs in them. I mean, they're corn-free, which is super hard to find because corn, whether it's corn starch or, different variations of corn is in everything. One thing I want to point out here is you see how it says sea salt instead of salt. This is a healthier form of salt. So, keeping in mind healthy swaps. Now, something else that you might try is a healthy swap for, let's say, sweets. So a great healthy swap for sweets that another person, Lisa, really loves in the Thrive Club is healthy hemp seed energy bites. So this is nothing but dates. You just like roll them around with some spices, and you like, cinnamon and clove and things like that. You put some hemp seeds in there, and you put some ginger in there, and you form them into little balls, little energy bites. And they're so packed with things like, minerals and vitamins and all of those sorts of things, potassium and magnesium and stuff like that, that it literally boosts your energy. So she's finding that throughout her day, she has more energy to do the work that she needs to do, to talk to the people that she needs to meet with, and to be there for her family. So some healthy swaps like that. Okay, so what is the next tip? We talked about the first one, healthy swaps for your kitchen staples, for things that you go to, whether it's snacks, which is what we talked about today, or something else. Well, in the name of, conquering emotional eating, one thing that I want to bring to your attention is tip number 2. So tip number 2 is not all calories are made equal. So not all carbs are made equal, not all proteins, not all fats. And when you're on this journey, you'll notice that it becomes easier when you have some go-tos, when you have some things that you can turn to throughout the week. So let's say that you're looking for, if you're looking to transfer into a plant-based diet, we have a really cool resource that is the nutritional guide. So this is a free, 100% free guide that allows you to get that insight on what healthy carbs are out there, what healthy fats do I have as like different options. And these are all going to be fruits, veggies, seeds, grains, mushrooms, even things that are super helpful and will boost you up instead of bringing you down. So you can eat more of these without like maxing out the calorie intake. And for those on a weight loss journey, it's always about whenever you're looking to lose weight, you wanna burn more than you put in. So it's not about starving yourself. It's not about binging. It's not about all of that. It's just about finding your balance. So not all calories are made equal is the second tip. So read those ingredients labels, know what you're eating, and get the free guide, because it's going to be a super helpful tool for you when you're going grocery shopping. Carry it with you. Use it. It's there for you. So tip number 3 on this emotional eating journey, even with cheat treat meals. So when we talk about bringing in cheat treat meals, because it is Saturday. So what that means is it is what I call Saturday cheat treat day. And I have a little graphic here because it's a real thing. Like we don't play about it. It's Cheat Treat Saturday, you guys. So what this means is whenever we do cheat treats, we have one day out the week where you take that time for yourself and you eat what you want to eat for one meal and then have something healthy for the rest of it. Now, whenever you're doing a cheat treat meal, something that's really important to keep in mind is this third tip, which is that you want to make sure that your ratio between your movement, how many calories you're burning, is overshadowing the amount of calories that you're intaking. So you want to get into your fat, what we call a fat burn zone. You want to get into that zone where you're building muscle, where you're thriving, where you're sweating and you're breathing hard. You're getting that heart rate up. And so with this, you want to watch the ratio. So tip 3 is watch the ratio between your move and fuel calories. So what's going out, what's coming in. Watch that ratio. And as you're planning your meals, so the next tip is plan your meals, right? Because sometimes we get a little too carried away when it comes to cheat treat meals. And then we find out that, week 2, week 3 happens and we had like 7 cheat treat meals over just 2 weeks. And we just come off our goals. We start to feel guilty, start to feel ashamed, all that stuff. Well, I want to get rid of all of that craziness for you, because with this tip, this fourth tip of planning your meals on a weekly basis, it will help make it so that everything that we talked about so far comes together. You incorporate those healthy swaps. You incorporate those calories that mean something, that are healthy for you, that are helping you toward your goals. And you're also, doing them in a certain way that it is not taking away from you. So you're minding that move to fuel ratio when it comes to that. Something that is helpful is having 3 to 5 meals a day. So what does that mean? 5 meals a day? Like what? Can I have like breakfast twice? What I mean is breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 2 snacks. So 3 main meals and 2 snacks. That's what we talk about whenever we're going into starting our Create Along with our Thrive Club members. And I'm going to leave the link below for the free strategy call. But this coming Saturday, so not today, but next week, Saturday, on the 19th, we're doing a Create Along where we are literally going to come together and you are going to walk out of this Create Along with a personalized meal plan, a weekly meal plan that's personalized to you, where you're incorporating all of the things that we're going to talk about today and that we've already talked about in a way that you feel confident, that you feel empowered, that you don't feel like you're in a box, because this is a freedom lifestyle around here. So what is the next tip? So the next tip that we're going to cover, since it is Cheat Treat Saturday, is throughout the week, you want to make sure that you are pouring into yourself, so that you're cleansing yourself. You're using superfoods and the power of that. And one way that we make that super easy and super simple is by incorporating supplements, right? So you want nutrient-dense supplements that are plant-based, supplements that are basically superfoods on their own. So they do multiple jobs, they do multiple things at once. You don't have to work so hard, right? So one of my favorite supplements is the nutritional herb mix. And you can actually get a 30-day supply of the herb mix at ufuluchild.store. But this herb mix, it is super impactful in that it helps you control your cravings, in that it helps you regulate your appetite. It removes free radicals. It helps lower cholesterol. It improves your metabolism. This helps with burning calories. It helps make that ratio between movement and fuel easier. This helps with memory and concentration and fertility. Oh my gosh, and inflammation and all that stuff. So this herb mix is something that we have handcrafted. We poured all of our love into, and we use it every day. Clean ingredients that are science-backed to help lower that stress, lower the anxiety that comes around emotional eating. This is actually one of the biggest tools that I use and I've used on my own journey of conquering emotional eating, because I would be that person, like I've said before, that will be in the car after a quick little cleanse, or like a quick trying to be raw vegan period, where I would be caught eating a whole loaf of bread in a sitting. So I completely understand how crazy it can get sometimes. And this really helps. So I wanted to leave this here for you. This was tip number 5. Get some sort of nutrient-dense supplements that does all of the things, that gives you all of the minerals and the nutrients that your body is craving for. Literally, when you're having these cravings, it's craving the nutrients. So making sure that you're getting that. Okay, so the next tip is tip number 6. And in tip number 6, we talk about getting into what I call your Thrive Zone. Your Thrive Zone. So what is the Thrive Zone? That's something that we've talked about and we've explored together. But basically, think of it in terms of like 3 circles, right? So think of 3 circles that overlap each other. And in the middle of where all of them come together, that is what I call your Thrive Zone. So with a thrive zone, what makes up, how do you know that you're in a thrive zone? So just to recap for anyone that might be new to this concept of thrive zone, your thrive zone is where these three worlds meet. So the first world, or the first circle is where you, stuff that you're in love with, stuff that you absolutely adore, that brings you joy, that lights you up inside, that makes you feel like, yes, I'm super happy to be doing this, participating in this, experiencing this, being this, all of that, love. So the first circle is what you love, okay? And then the second circle of the thrive zone is what you need. So it's the stuff that you may not, if you may not love it necessarily, but you know that you need it. It might be something like maybe more exercise, more water. It's just something that you need. And then the other circle is what your spirit is calling you to. So what resonates with you, what's ripe on the tree, like thinking of a tree visual. If you were to pick fruit, you want to pick the ripest fruit. That's what you're ready for, right? So what you're ready for, what your spirit is calling you to right now. So your thrive zone is where these three worlds meet, right in the middle. So the thrive zone. Okay, let me see if I can pull up the graphic, because that would just make it super, super awesome if you could just see it as well. But that is tip number 6, is to get into your thrive zone. And the thrive zone is where those meet. So let me go ahead and share this so that you can see what I see. Sometimes it just helps to have the visual. Okay. Okay. So this is your thrive zone. You see where that red marker is? That's where what you love meets what you need more of and what your spirit calls you to. So right there in that sweet spot, you want to make sure that you're choosing food items whenever you're coming up with your personal meal plan. You want to make sure that you're choosing foods and things that are in your thrive zone. So stuff that you already love, stuff that you need more of, and stuff that your spirit calls you to, so that there's like no resistance. It becomes a lasting change, and it becomes something that's easy to stick to, something that's effortless to stick to. So this is the sweet spot. This is why we have the healthy swaps. This is why we do all the other things. This is why we talked about the other tips, because we always want to get into this sweet spot, this thrive zone. And that includes for how we fuel ourselves. That includes the food. So that's tip number 6. Now, tip number 7. This is the final one, right? So the final one, now that we're talking about the thrive zone, we need to be realistic when we're talking about these cheat treat meals, the cheat treat Saturday, right? So whenever we talk about getting into your thrive zone, tip number 7 is throwing out those unrealistic expectations. Because you know yourself, you know what you need, you know what you're ready for. So if in the back of your head and your heart and your spirit and all the things coming together in your thrive zone, it says, the cheat treat meal where I thought I was going to have KFC and all of that, I may not be ready for that just yet. I may just need to have the plan and do that for a week or two first and then get into it. Or maybe when you know yourself, you know what you're ready for, it might be telling you, actually, I am ready for a cheat treat meal. And maybe it might be where I'm ready for it every week, or, something like that, where I have more freedom. I'm able to reset my metabolism again, outside of the herb mix and stuff like that. So that might be something that is within your spirit. Everyone is different. So everyone is called to check in with themselves, right? So these are the 7 tips. I'm going to recap them one more time, just so you have it, just so you are able to, see it, jot it down, stuff like that. And let me actually go ahead and share it so that you can see them while I'm talking about it too. So the 7 tips are coming up. Oh, okay, here we go. I think this is it. If this isn't it, then it's okay. We'll figure it out. All right. Yes, this is it. So these are the 7 tips. So 1, get healthy swaps for your kitchen staples. You want to make sure that all the things that you love, that you find yourself eating a ton of the time, that doesn't feel quite right in your body, that you get a healthier swap for it. So in the Thrive Club, we offer healthy swaps for a ton of things, and these are just some examples. So we talked about some chips. We talked about a brand of chips. There are other chips out there. Just look at the ingredients labels, feel it out, and you know what's right for you. Okay, so tip number 2, watch your move to fuel calorie ratio. So you want to burn more than you're intaking, right? So as you're coming up with, how many times you're going to be moving your body, how often you're going to move your body, what your workout plan is going to be, how, whatever you're called to, just keeping in mind that in order to overcome the emotional eating, movement is going to be helpful in just, the mental side of it. Intentional movement, whether you're walking a mile, whether you're dancing or boxing or whatever, you just want to make sure that that ratio between what's coming in and what's coming out is at its balance, right? So the next tip is not all calories are equal. So not all calories are equal. There are unhealthy carbs like, processed sugar. There are unhealthy fats like canola oil. There are unhealthy proteins like McDonald's chicken nuggets. There are healthy versions of these things as well. And I want to just point you to the free nutritional guide for this one. So not all calories are equal. And this will help you a ton. And then the next one, plan your weekly meals ahead of time. So plan your weekly meals, and what we'll be doing this coming Saturday, so on the 19th, is doing a create along where, along with our coaches at Ufulu Child, you will be coming up with your own personalized meal plan. So plan your meals ahead of time. And if you're interested in that, just take a moment to go to ufuluchild.com/strategy call and schedule a time so you can meet with us before then, so that you can get all the information or even just get some tips, And then tip number 5 is have a nutrient-dense supplement. So we talked about the herb mix. We talked about the Ufulu Child Align Nutritional Herb Mix, but just something that you love that will give you all of the nutrients, I'll give you all the minerals, the amino acids, the things that your body needs in order to crush those cravings, in order to meet the day at its fullness. Okay, and then tip number 6, get into your food thrive zone. So we shared the graphic. We talked about those 3 worlds, the thrive zone. This is where there's no guilt. This is where you're satisfied in your food thrive zone. This is where you're not stuffing or starving yourself, but you are content and happy. And then last but not least is throw out the unrealistic expectations. Pay attention to yourself, know yourself, be present with yourself, all those things. So these are my top 7 secrets for conquering emotional eating, even with regular cheat meals. And I hope that this serves you well. If you have any questions whatsoever, anything came up for you, if you are looking for some healthy swaps for things, let me know in the comments, and I cannot wait to talk to you soon. And if you want, just our help in any way, we have a free coaching call available. Go ahead and schedule yours, and we can't wait to talk to you. Enjoy your day, sending unconditional love, always, in all ways. Peace.